Thank you for joining me today. Today we are going to be making a crock pot chili recipe with cornbread for our Crocktober. Now because I'm making this chili for just one person tonight, I'm only going to make a half a batch. So typically what I do, I really like these little chili seasoning packets that I get from Aldi. This one's 30% low sodium, so I really like it. I'm only gonna use half of the packet and half of the ingredients. So I'm gonna start off by browning a whole onion, and it's a big onion, but I'm gonna be taking half of the ground beef and half of the onion. I'm gonna let them cool and I'm gonna put them in the freezer for another recipe. Happy Crocktober! Today we're going to be making a small batch of chili and cornbread in our crock pot. So I'm cooking up a pound of ground beef, a whole brown onion, which is making me cry because it's so strong. Woo! And I am going to be using half of it on my recipe and the other half I'm going to freeze for another meal. I really like to do that when I'm cooking for myself because I just find that it's a great way to save time on my next dish. I just throw the cooked product in and it just seems like it makes everything go faster. So let me get this cooked up and I'll show you what it looks like in just a minute. My ground beef isn't completely cooked, but my onions are just exactly the way I want them. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting some of this into my crock pot. So I'm just going to put these onions in here with some of the ground beef. And some of this I'm going to let to continue cooking. I want all of the ground beef primarily cooked. I don't even care so much if it's cooked. I really just want it browned. So I'm trying to get some of this brown part off. As soon as I can cut it in half, it'll cook a lot quicker. Just like so. Now to this last little bit of hamburger that I'm cooking up, I'm going to add a little bit of water. That's going to help deglaze this pan. It's going to make it a lot easier to clean. Plus it's going to make kind of a little broth with the meat that I have left in here to put in my crock pot. I don't want a lot because as I said, I'm making this for only myself. I'll have enough for tonight and then maybe enough for another meal, which I'll freeze. And as you can see, it's already turning into a really nice little broth here. So we're just gonna let that cook up for about 5 minutes. So I've taken about half of the ground beef and onions and put it on a separate plate. I'm gonna let that cool. And now I'm just gonna move all of this yummy broth and ground beef into my crock pot. Thanks for watching today's video. And if you're not a subscriber, would you please consider subscribing to my channel or giving me a like or a thumbs up? It really helps me to grow my channel. On with the show. All right, so now that I've got all of my ground beef and onions all cooked in and put in my crock pot, I am going to take some stewed tomatoes. Now these are some stewed tomatoes that I canned, and they're just really, really delicious. I make these every year from my homegrown tomatoes, and I love to put these right inside of my chili. Just gives it the best flavor. And then I'm also going to put a jar of my black beans. Now these have been canned with taco seasoning, so they're going to be really delicious and add another level of flavor. And I'm just going to throw those in, including the liquid. Now if I'm putting beans on a salad or something like that, I don't put the bean liquid in. I go ahead and rinse the beans, but in this case, I like a nice thick chili, so I'm going to go ahead and leave my beans in there. Look at how good that looks already. Oh my gosh. And then to that, I'm going to add half of my seasoning packet. Now I mentioned I get these at Aldi. Not only are they inexpensive, they're also half of the sodium that you would get in a normal seasoning packet. Now, if you would like to make a seasoning of your own, you know, you go right ahead. This is just nice and easy and something I kind of like doing when I'm, you know, like in this situation, I'm putting it in the crock pot for the day and I just want everything to cook up wonderfully and be a nice hearty chili for tonight. So I'm actually going to add a little bit of water to this. I'm going to use my bean cup. I also added a chicken bouillon cube to this. And I'm going to add a little bit of my Homestead Patch seasoning. That's my rosemary, oregano, Italian parsley, and my thyme. So I'm going to put some of that in there. And I'm also going to put a little bit of garlic and parsley, just a little bit. I've got a lot of seasonings in there, but I think that will make it very good. I was gonna see if I needed to add more chili sauce, more chili powder, but I think this is gonna be more than enough as far as flavor. So I am gonna go ahead and put this on low. And I'm gonna get it cooking in the crock pot. And in the meantime, I'm just going to let this cook for, I'll check it in about 4 or 5 hours and I'll show you how it looks. Now, if you're interested, I'm doing a drawing for this Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving and Canning. It's a really nice cookbook. I'm doing a giveaway for the month of October for Crocktober. So if you leave a comment, you'll be entered in the drawing to win this book. So if you're interested, please leave me a comment. So along with my delicious smelling chili, I'm going to be making some Jiffy cornbread. Now, this was a copycat recipe that I made of the Jiffy Corn Muffins. And if you're interested in knowing how to put this together, I'm going to link it right above. And in the meantime, I'm going to get started. So the recipe that I printed out was for 12 muffins. Since it's just me, I'm going to cut the recipe in half. So I added half of a cup plus a fourth, so 3/4 of a cup of muffin mix. This is for 6 muffins. I'm going to be adding 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Now this is the apple cider vinegar that I made from the apples off of my tree. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And instead of the 2 eggs, I'm going to go ahead and add the 1 egg. Just like so. And then the last thing I'm going to add is some almond milk. Now you can use regular milk or you can use almond milk. This calls for 2/3 of a cup. I'm going to go ahead and add 1/4 of a cup. And I'm going to stir this up and just see how it looks. I'm thinking I'm probably going to add a little bit more, but this is really kind of one of those things you can tell by the amount that you add. So I'm going to add a little bit more, maybe like 1/4, maybe like 1/8 of a cup of milk. I'm just going to mix this whole thing together. Now I don't want to add oil because I'm trying to follow the Weight Watchers plan. And so I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of unsweetened applesauce. Now this calls for 1/4 of a cup of vegetable oil. So I'm just going to be putting in a little bit of applesauce, like maybe 1/8 of a cup. Now this is a corn muffin, so you're not even going to know that applesauce is in there. It was such a small amount, and that's just about the consistency that we're looking for. So this is for 6 muffins. I'm going to go ahead and link the recipe for 12 muffins. And if you want to cut it in half, you're more than welcome to do that. So there's a half a batch. Those are 6 muffins. I'm going to put them in a preheated oven at 400 degrees. And I'm going to go ahead and bake those for 15 to 18 minutes. I'll be back as soon as they're done. So my chili and cornbread is done. I have added, I've got my cornbread here. I've got my chili. I added a tablespoon of reduced fat cheddar cheese and some fresh onions. And I'm going to show you how I eat my chili. It's kind of different. So I usually take my cornbread And I just crumble it up in my chili. It's just how I like it. I don't know why. Kind of strange, I guess. And I eat it just like that. And this is gonna be so good. I've been thinking of this all day. I've been smelling this chili cook and it smells amazing. So there you go. That is actually better than crackers. So I'm gonna give it a try for you. I'll hold it up like this. So the chili itself is 4 points. The reduced fat cheese is another point. And then the corn muffin is 5 points. So the whole meal is 10 points. It's gonna be very good for a crock pot fall day. That is delicious. You've got to give this a try. If you're looking for an easy crock pot recipe to make, this is the one. You can't beat chili and cornbread, especially on kind of a blustery, windy day. So thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Give my video a like, a thumbs up. It really helps my channel to grow. So I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.